All right, guys. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to our meeting tonight. We do appreciate your presence. We thought you might enjoy a little cool weather while you're inside here. I didn't expect it to be a meat locker, but but it certainly feels a little nicer than what's going on outside right now. I have prepared a few slides to be my cues for things that we want to talk about today. I have some other people in the building as well. We do have one speaker that I had planned to do a little bit later, but I'm going to ask that we do her now. She's got to go home and get her son, right? The babysitter. So we really, the whole theme behind tonight is about expectations, okay? What you can expect from us, what we can expect from you, and what we all expect from our student athletes. So that being said, what I'd like to do is, please, I'm going to announce our new vice principal, Dr. Shanna Howell, to talk to you about how you can expect us to, be around and help your students thrive in our building. So, Dr. Howell.
Good evening, everyone. I just started this summer, so I'm new to Southeastern. I'm very excited. One of the first things I did when I started is I went to Mr. Tripp and said, hey, I'm a former student athlete. I want to get the opportunity to get in front of the fall athletes. And so he brought me around to all the teams the past couple weeks, and I was able to speak to just about everyone. We missed a couple, but trust me, your students have heard from me already. The biggest thing for me is that I wanted the student athletes to understand their role as a student athlete. And when you're a student athlete, whether you want to be a leader, whether you want to have the spotlight on you, it's on there, right? So people are going to refer to you as, oh, he plays football, oh, she plays volleyball. So whether you like it or not, as a student athlete, student first, athlete second, people are going to know who you are. So with me being a vice principal, I deal with discipline and behavior. So I'm going to tell you what I told your students. I told them I had 3 areas that I'm really going to pay attention to this year and I don't have very high tolerance for. The first one is bullying. We know that bullying is the issue, not just here at Southeastern, it's everywhere, nationwide. If you read the research, if you just Google bullying in the United States, you'll see that it's a huge issue. Unlike me, not telling my age, but we didn't have social media when I was growing up. Young people now, you can use Snapchat, you can send a message on Saturday at 2 o'clock in the morning, whereas when I was in high school, when you left on Friday, you didn't hear anything again until Monday, right? And so we're just in a different time. And what I know is that bullying is an issue, and we want to address it, and we want to cut it off at the head. We just don't even want to know that it's occurring. And so I told the student athletes that, I want to see you, but not in my office, and definitely not for bullying. The other 2 things have to do with attendance and being tardy. In the past, there's been some issues with attendance and tardiness. And so when it comes to attendance, my expectation is not that you just have your butt in the seat in your class. Yes, we want you to be there and we want you to be on time. But as a student athlete, my expectation is that you participate, that you, do your work, that you do well in school. I'm not sure what happened in the past, but I told Mr. Tripp that he can I guarantee that any issues that come up with student athletes, not only am I going to be telling him, but I'm also promising the coaches that I'm going to reach out to you. We're all a team. We all want your students to be successful. In order for that to happen, I need to be able to communicate with Mr. Tripp as well as with the coaches and let them know what's going on. I worked in the D1 athletic department for 3 years at a university, and I know the importance of all of us working together. So before I call home, I'm not going to lie, I'm probably going to reach out to Mr. Tripp and coach and say, hey, what's going on with this student? What's happening? Are you seeing anything on the court or the field of play? Help me out figuring out what's going on before I make that phone call to you all. But it will eventually happen. So I just set these expectations that students, be on time. How can you learn if you're late all the time? How can you learn if you're never here? So that's very important. And just making sure that they are leaders no matter where they are. The last thing I mentioned to most of the teams is that I want them to be the example. I want them to be the influence of their peers. So even if your friend is not an athlete, if something's about to happen, I'm expecting them to say, okay, I'm not going to do that, you know. We also have students who are involved in other clubs and activities, and that's great. And we want them to also be the leaders of this high school as well. So I just wanted to come today, introduce myself so you know who I am, because I am new. But I also wanted to let you know I've been talking to the kids and letting them know I don't want to see you in my office, right? I don't want their name to come across my desk because once I realize that they are a student athlete, we will put things into place to make sure that we handle the situation, you know, as upfront and as possible. Does anyone have any questions for me before I go? All right, thank you so much and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Dr. Howell. Have a safe drive home. Rude me, I didn't introduce myself. I know many of you here in the building, but my name is Dan Tripp. I'm the supervisor of athletics and activities here at Southeastern Regional. And really the reason that we're here tonight is to present an opportunity for exchange, right? For conversations, for questions, for meet and greet, and just to exchange ideas and make sure we're all kind of on the same page when it comes to your student athlete. So before we kind of get into that, what I'd like to do is a couple very brief introductions. So excited that I have a right-hand person in our department this year. Assistant athletic director working with me this year is Kay Manigan. Kay, did you want to say something real quick, or you good?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kay Manigan. I coached here for almost 10 years, track and field primarily, a little bit of volleyball. So I've been here a long time, and I absolutely love this school and this community. So excited to take on this new role. You're going to see me around. I'm very social, so I'm going to probably come right up to you and introduce myself, say hi. Feel free to reach out to me at any point in time if you need anything. And yeah, let's go. Go Hawks.
Thank you, Ms. Manigan. Believe me, she's already keeping me on my toes. Just very quickly, I want you all to know that when this evening is over, nothing is mandatory, but we do have many coaches here in the room. So if you don't know who the coach is and you haven't been able to put eyes on them and you want to shake their hands and you want to talk to them and maybe, you know, share some ideas on how you can be involved with, you know, promoting your team by doing fundraisers or pasta dinners or whatever it is, please know that the coaches will all be here right after this, and you're more than welcome to stay for a few minutes and chat. So just very quickly, I just want to introduce all the coaches so you know who they are. I'm going to try to go alphabetically by sport. Cross country would be Mr. Peter Valente, right over here. Both of our cheer coaches work extra jobs, so they're both at their extra jobs tonight. So if anybody has any questions about cheer or wants to talk about that program, please see me and I'll make sure I can get you, point you in the right direction. Next would be field hockey, right? Field hockey head coach Morgan Richardson. Our first year head football coach Josh Brewster, who's also a teacher here in the building. Our golf coach, again, and by the way, most, I think, if not all, no, everyone with the exception of one is a teacher in the building as well. So there are teachers here as well. Golf coach, Eric Hunt, way up out back. We have our boys soccer coach, Steve Callahan, right here. We have our girls soccer coach, Jason Hammond, right here in the middle. And our head volleyball coach, Eric Belton, right here. Again, for you guys, thanks for being here tonight. We just want to make sure that everybody understands that it is an important thing to make ourselves available and accessible to the parents, because we definitely want to be working with you to expand and multiply your experience here for your student athletes. The next person I want to give the mic to for a couple of minutes has also been an addition to my life here. He is now my immediate supervisor, and he comes from a great athletic background. So when we have things go on or have issues that we want to bounce off of each other, it's great. We can shut the door and talk things out and we've come to a lot of understandings by doing that. So I'd like to, for just a few minutes, for Mr. Rob Delalue to have the mic and talk to you for a bit.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming and sharing part of your day with us here at the school. And again, my name is Rob Delalue. I am the Executive Director of Human Resources, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion here at the school and Belonging. Right now, I get the privilege of supervising HR, DE&I, and Belonging, as well as and helping with athletics and supporting athletics. As Mr. Tripp did mention, I do have an extensive background. I was a vocational student athlete myself at the high school level, became a scholarship level athlete and played collegiate basketball. And then from there, became a collegiate coach, a high school coach, and have done many different things with sports. And then after that, I ended up, when I was at the college level as a supervisor there, athletics reported to me for several years as well at Bristol Community College. So, and I've been on different college staffs and high school staffs, and currently I'm actually a high school coach, a varsity coach now. So athletics has been a major, major, major part of my growth and my development and understanding. What you're enduring and what I've learned is I'm fairly new here. It hasn't been a year that I've been at the school, but I've been absorbing and really kind of looking at what's the culture, what's the environment of the school as a whole. But a part of that is also what does athletics look like. We understand that a lot of our student athletes are coming from 9 different towns. I was a vocational student. You have a lot of students that don't know each other, right? So there's a lot of lack of trust, understanding, because you didn't grow up necessarily with the person next to you that you're on the field or on the court with, okay? Your students are getting to know who each other are. You're getting to know who the parents are. You're coming from different backgrounds. Some of you may be from more rural areas. Some might be from cities. Some may be from, there's all types of differences that are going to be there. And then you're going into a competitive space. And as you go into a competitive space, you're then, as you're going in that space, there's a lot of emotion that comes with that, right? And one thing that we know, and all of us are in here are adults, right? We're human, right? Emotional intelligence and emotional safety is something that even people that are 80 years old have problems with. So we understand that our students are going to have that type of issue at times with one another, within themselves, within trusting their coaches, within trusting a teammate. That's going to happen, all right? My job, and one of the things that I'm looking to bring to the school, and reason why I'm partnering with athletics, is belonging is extremely essential to athletics. Athletics, I always say, is the front porch of a school. No matter what, right? A school is really your student first, you're an athlete second. That's something I've always preached. But whenever you hear anything about a school, most of the time it's either something at the superintendent level that's really political, or you hear about athletics, right? Athletics is one of those things that just pops out. Everyone talks about how great someone did in a game, or what's happening in other spaces. Those things are things that it just seems to be revolving a lot. And my goal is to make sure that we are creating safe spaces, that we're creating community, that we're creating opportunities for us to learn about one another. And spaces like this will create that. And this is why this athletics night is important. Yeah, it's a lot of information that you will be hearing. You're not probably going to retain most of it, but what we want to understand is that we are here to support you and your students' journey, right? And trust me, I've been coaching for 20 plus years at very high levels, and no matter what, as a coach, I mean, trust me, now I coach at the high school level, and I have, kids that could barely, catch sometimes, right? And then I have but then all of a sudden they're telling me what they should do or how I should coach or whatever. It's part of the culture. I get it, right? And I'm just like, okay, and let's learn together, right? And I understand it's a learning experience, and we have to be able to walk through that journey together as a school. One thing I like to emphasize as well, if there is an issue or concern, okay, please go to your coaches first. That should be the first point of emphasis. Go to the coach, okay? Have a conversation and see where that goes, because sometimes A lot of our coaches have been through it. They've a lot of wealth of experience. And for you and your student, it might be the first time you're actually going through that experience. If you're not an athlete, or maybe you are, either way, it's 2 instances, 3 instances, or 4, depending on how big the family is, right? But coaches have been through many of these situations, right? I know I've coached, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of kids now, and a lot of them have done some great things. You know, some of them are playing in FIBA World Cup right now. But your instance might be is very important to you, but to me, or other coaches, they've had the experience of doing that. So trust in them. Have a conversation to see if they know, like, this scenario might be new to you, but to them, they have an understanding of maybe what the resolution can be or how to fix a problem. Step 2 would be then talking to the athletic director. Again, another person who should have the wealth of understanding. Go to that individual. And then step 3 would be me, all right? Don't just jump. Something happens and I get the emotion is there and there's a lot that goes on. And then sometimes we want to skip right onto myself or a superintendent. Just go through the order. It's really the best way of doing it. I don't know what happened in the past. I'm now learning the school and things that we're going that's happening now, and that's the only thing I can control is the now. And I would want us to make sure that we team together in doing that. Okay. Again, I think you're going to learn a lot tonight. You're going to hear a lot of information that's extremely important. And if you want to have conversations with me, my door is always open. But just make sure we go through the proper channels so that way we just know that it's everything is happening fair and equitable across the board. Okay. And again, if your student needs anything as well, and they're feeling there's belonging issues or something that's needed, have them come see me as well. I'm in the district office, so I'm not in this building. I'm over onto the side, but I'll be in the building a lot. So they do see me. Some of the student athletes here, you might have seen me roaming around and not wondering who I am or what my role is. This is what I do. And again, and I'll be here, and I have done this for a long period of time. So again, thank you for having me, and then let's have a great night, and good luck to all of you this year, and all the success to you and your student athletes. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate your time and your support by being here tonight. Okay. So first and foremost, I just want to get some important information out to you and make sure you understand where this information is available. If you want to take some snapshots of these slides, feel free to do so. However, we are going to have this on our website, and we will email it to everybody. So these links here are actually live, okay? So our registration site is a site called Family ID. If your kids are playing right now, they know that this exists, and you've gone through the process to do this. As we move forward, we do a seasonal registration. So we do one for the fall season, one for the winter season, one for the spring season. So it's opened up for a few days here and there during those times for registration to happen. Just wanted you to make sure that you knew that this was here. Arbiter Live, okay, I think this is a good one. Arbiter Live is where we house all of our schedules. In a case like today, where we had extreme heat, right, we made some cancellations and some adjustments and some modifications. If you go to Arbiter Live, okay, and you go to the teams, and you choose the team that you want to follow. So when we make a change to that schedule, you can give information where you get an automatic notification. All right, so I actually have 5 teenagers in my house. And when I ask them when and where practice is, I don't even know if they're coming and going. Like they don't. It's like they're on the moon. So I understand that the information that is given to some of your kids, some points, doesn't always make it back to you. So I think it would be helpful if you went to any team that you're interested in following. It could be a varsity team, a JV team, whatever. Just go over and click the follow button for that team and put in your email, and you create an account. All right. So as I learned that we have to postpone our golf match today because it was too hot outside, and I do that in this system, it will automatically notify you that that game has been postponed. So I think that's a great tool to help with communication. The last link that we have in here is for our athletic department webpage. That link, Kay, I think we got to redo that one. That was holding up a little bit. But I went on to, I can show you where to get to the athletic webpage. All right, so if you go to this is our home webpage, sersd.org. Go to departments, go to athletics. All those other links that I just showed you are also housed here. So it's like a one-stop shopping for you. If you want to get everything in one spot, it's right here under athletics. And again, here we go. It's slowing down a little bit. Don't want to bore you. Just know that that's there, and everything that you need to know is housed on that page. Okay. Little bit of a brag sheet here, and we talked about inclusiveness and belonging, and that's kind of our flagship that we're talking about, and we're trying to really focus on to make sure that everybody in our school has something that they can belong to and be a part of. We're going to get to that in a second, but the first thing I think we all need to understand, and I see many of the student athletes here, I'm not sure if you realize, but I have a freshman at Bridgewater Rainham. It's costing me $350 for him to play football there. Okay? If he wanted to park there, it's going to be like another $150. God forbid he plays hockey. Are you kidding me? It's going to be like $500 to play hockey there, which actually for a hockey parent, that's actually a good deal for a hockey season. So that's actually not a bad, I'm not going to complain about that one too much. But we are so lucky here, so supported here that we don't charge anybody for anything extracurricular. And I think that is just fantastic. I've been here for 15 years. That's the way it's always been. Upper administration has always supported us in that way, and I think we are. I know that I'm grateful for it. I taught for 13 years at Taunton High School before I came here, and I coached just about everything. And if I wanted to get, I don't know, socks for the kids, we had to do a fundraiser and do this. And not that we don't want to do that stuff here, because that's fun, but we are extremely well supported by our upper administration. And I want to make sure that's said in a public manner because it's true. Transportation. I know that many of our student athletes don't have rides home after practice. And in a normal case, if they didn't have a ride home, they wouldn't be able to play. We are able to provide transportation back to their neighborhoods and all of our sending towns and districts after practices at 6 o'clock. And I'm going to say 90 to 95% of the time, that covers just about everything, away games, home games, and practices. There are going to be a few where you might have an away game and get back a little bit late, and you might miss the 6 o'clock bus, but we usually and pick up. It really is important for please, on behalf of our teachers and our coaches that are here, who start at maybe 7:30 in the morning, and might be getting back from a game at 7:30 at night, and we have a student athlete that needs to be picked up, they are instructed to stay with that student athlete until they are picked up. So your tardiness or lack thereof, your promptness, I should say, is very much appreciated by everybody involved in that. So I just wanted to bring that stuff up. And to the last point where we talk about, inclusive practices. Right now, we have a little over 400 student athletes for the fall season. We're doing our clubs and activities registration next week. Last year, we had about 600 and change. So we've got over 1,000 kids involved out of about 1,600. By my math, it's somewhere in the 60% range, 62%. But what we try to focus on a yearly basis is, okay, what about the other 38%? What can we do a little bit different? Could we start a new club to get them included or get them involved, right? So if anybody has any ideas or any knowledge to share with things like that, please reach out and share. Again, that's our mantra. We want everybody to have something to do when they come here to be a part of our community. Okay, this was Dr. Howell. This was her slide. She actually spoke on this earlier, so I'm just going to skip right over that. Yay, people are saying yay. One of the things that I want to make sure that we all understand is the expectations of parents. And again, we're going to talk about expectations from everybody in every different direction, but expectations for parents. As Rob alluded to earlier, I come from an athletic background. I know it might not appear like that anymore, but I played just about everything under the sun, and it was always very competitive with everything I've always done. And I understand, like Rob said, the emotions of the game. But now that I have 5 teenagers and they're going through it, I am thankful that I have the ability to step back and be like, you know what, they're playing for fun. More than likely not going to go to the NHL or the NBA or anything like that. They're playing for fun. They're out there trying to have fun. And when those daily things pop up that don't make it fun, let's try to work together to make that better for our student athlete, right? That's why we're here, to make sure that we can collaborate to make sure that our student athletes and your children have a good experience while participating in athletics. Couple of things, I promise, I don't usually do this, but I want to make sure that I emphasize that these next couple of things are very important to us as a coaching staff and as an admin team. From our registration agreement, when you register your student athlete, there are agreements in there that you are supposed to read and check off and say, yes, I understand and I agree. But I think it's vitally important that we absolutely make sure that we're all on the same page with just a couple of these, and I promise you I won't bore you with a ton of them, just a couple real important ones. I agree not to criticize, belittle, antagonize, berate, or otherwise incite any team and/or its players, coaches, cheerleaders, fans, or officials and judges by word of mouth or by gesture, including our own teams. We did some T-shirts last year, which kind of summed it up. This, we started to really focus on this last year because it started to become an issue for us. Rob, could you just stand up and show them the back of your T-shirt? We'll do some more later. Ultimately, all this statement means is just be a good person. Don't go there and try to rip other people or get into, again, try to quell the emotion and just remember we're all there trying to have fun. Next point, I will respect all coaches and officials and their authority during games and will never question, discuss, or confront them in public before, during, or immediately after any contest. This is not to say that you cannot approach a coach and have a conversation. We want you to be able to have conversations with coaches. But the best time is never during a game when the heat, the emotion is going on at that point in time. Right? Try to swallow that emotion a little bit and say, I'm gonna sit on it. If something's going on they're upset about, sit on it, wait 24 hours, reach out to coach the next day. Just give everybody that little time buffer to kind of calm down and get back into a good place before you can have a lucid and valid conversation with each other. And again, I'm not trying to discourage reaching out to coaches. We want you to know that we are here to talk with you and make sure that your student athlete's experience is a good one. Rob kind of hit on this, so I'm not going to go over this one again, but there is a certain order in which we'd like you to, if you have a question or concern, that the first thing would be, try to get the kid to talk to the coach. Try to get your student athlete to talk to the coach. If that's not working, then you can go through the level of steps that Mr. Delalu mentioned earlier. So again, without, going over that again, I don't want to restate things that we've already talked about. Okay, a couple of other things we just want to make sure that we're on the same page about. Rosters, positions, playing time. The coach and only the coach decides that. Okay? Again, if there are things that you are concerned about for your student athlete that aren't about what their position is or what their playing time has been, feel free to have that conversation. But please, we have a lot of very talented, some coaches a little bit older, some coaches a little bit younger, but I do know that they're all very good coaches and they're all very good people, and their job is to put their best team on the field. Right? High school varsity athletics, their job is to put the best team on the field so that we can compete and be successful. Again, your coach, feel free to go to your coach if you have any things, and I'm looking at, and I see some parents here. There are some girls soccer parents that are here that have already planned some fundraisers, some fun activities. I know there has been some football parents that have got together. We had a tailgate thing after one of the scrimmages one night. If you haven't had a chance to do anything like that with your group, please let me know. I'll put you in touch with the coach and we'll work something out to try and come up with some fun stuff for the kids that maybe we haven't thought of. Sorry. What you can expect from our coaches, right? Expectations and respect. It's a two-way street, 100%. We know that, and we do our best to live by that. All right? You can expect from our coaches to respect and enforce school-wide rules, regulations, and codes. Number one, right? You've got to be on the team and make sure we're all playing the same game. Develop a positive rapport with players and their families. I ask coaches on a weekly basis to reach out. I know some of the coaches are on the SportsU app. I know Coach Hammond is on the SportsU app with the girls soccer team, and it's been a huge positive way to increase communication and a sense of belonging in a community, right? Because there's a little chat app on there. It's not Snapchat anymore. It's SportsU. Everybody can see what's going on. Everybody understands when the schedule is, when the games are, when the car wash is going to be next week, who's going to work what shifts in the car wash. We have that app. We're working right now with a couple of programs to be involved with that app, and we're hoping that we can get the entire department there within the next year or so. You can expect the coaches to communicate effectively with you. with the faculty, media, parents, anybody. This is expected of our coaches. Exemplify the conduct of a professional coach both in and out of school. Okay, you're on the sidelines, you're in the classroom, or you're out to dinner with your family. You're always a coach for Southeastern, no matter where you are or who you're talking to. We say the same thing with our players and our athletes. You are an ambassador for our school. It's 24/7, 365. Please try to remember that, and that same exact thing is asked of our coaches. All right, and our coaches should be able to develop a respect by example in appearance, behavior, language, and conduct, during practices and contests. And I got to be honest with you, I know Coach Brewster when Coach was going through the interview process, one of the biggest things we wanted to work on, the X's and O's are there, we got some athletes, but we really wanted to focus on culture because we felt there was a lot of good stuff, a lot of room for improvement there. Coach has this thing in practice where if somebody swears, the team's got to run. Well, I have a son that's a senior on the team, and he swore one day in practice, so everybody had to run. They had to run 5 laps. I witnessed on his sidelines during one of our scrimmage where a kid from another team, dropped the pass right in front of our sideline, and one of our kids was just like a gut reaction, like, yeah, you can't catch the ball. 2 kids and a coach went over to that kid and said, no, we don't do that here. That's not what we do, all right? We're all positive for us. We don't talk that junk to other people, right? And we don't need to swear to convey an idea or a thought across, right? So just, these are some of the things that we want you to know that you can expect from our coaches, okay? And again, if you happen to see something that you don't think falls in line with this, approach the coach and maybe talk to them about it. Again, when time is right, and if you don't think that's working, reach out to me and or Rob. Okay, last slide, I promise. What we want to do is take attendance for these meetings. There are many people that aren't here. Many people called and emailed said they couldn't be here. So we're going to email this slideshow. It's being filmed right now. We will put on our website the video, the slideshow with the live links, and we will get you a Google form that says, yes, I attended in person, or I watched the video from the website, or I watched the video that you sent me. And you check it off and say, yes, thank you very much, I agree with it, and I've been there, and I appreciate your effort, and we appreciate your effort. And that's just a way for us to make sure that we know who's taking the time out of their day to make this important thing, this important communication happen for your student athletes, okay? So that Google form will be coming out to you sometime within the next, I'm gonna say maybe sometime early next week. I know that we definitely wanna work and get it on the website, so it's available for everybody as well. So that basically is it in a nutshell. At this point, I am here to answer any department questions and or concerns. And like I said, we are gonna make your specific coaches available as well, maybe just up in the corner or around or out back or however we wanna do it. But at this time, is there anybody that has any questions or concerns about something that we spoke about, or maybe something we didn't speak about? Maybe there was something that we missed, or there's some issue that's important to you that you like to speak with or talk about. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Yes, where are we? Oh, so sorry. Yes. Okay, I'm not sure if everybody heard it, but the question was fundraiser. So thank you for bringing that up, because I didn't talk about the fact that we do have some budding, we'll call them parent support groups right now. They do fundraisers, okay? And every penny that they spend goes back to the kids in some way, shape, or form. So I know that the girls' soccer team is doing some stuff, and they're doing some gear for the kids. Like, I think it is like pajamas, like soccer pajamas, something like that. Yeah, right? And some fun stuff, t-shirts, just gear that they can personalize and keep and things like that. One of the things we want to make sure that happens this year is we want to do an end of the season, I don't want to say banquet, but more like a breakup dinner, like a team dinner at the end of the year to say, hey, look out for stuff in the off season. So we want to get pizza and things like that, invite parents in, just, nothing. Like I said, the school supports us tremendously financially. So really the fundraisers, in my opinion, are an excuse to get together and get to know each other. You know, so if you can raise a few bucks while doing that and make things better for your team and for your kids, by all means, please feel free to get together and do it. And if you would like to try and get in touch with some of the other parents from your team, and you're willing to share your contact information to try and lead something up, I can send that out to everybody else on the team and just, blind copy, so I'm not sharing their information if they don't want me to. So if you wanted to do that, you can reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with everybody else in the program that your son or daughter is participating in. Okay? You're welcome. Anybody else? Yes. Actually, right. Unfortunately, we only have 4 buses in the afternoon. So they have to be a centralized place within the area. Now, what we could do is you can give me a call. We can see if there's a different place that might be closer. If we're dropping off at one of the schools and you need to go somewhere else, we could try and do that. But unfortunately, time-wise and in a financial sense, those drop-offs at the late bus need to be done on centralized locations. All right, and please feel. That's correct. There's one at 4 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock. Thank you, and I didn't mention that. There's 2. Okay, so why don't you do this? Because not everybody goes home at the 4 o'clock one every day. So why don't you do this? Give me a call tomorrow, and we can talk about your situation specifically, and we'll see if there's any solution we can come up with. One of the people that works closely with me as well is Deb O'Connell. She's also the transportation liaison. So at the end of the day, she comes over and sits in my office, and we work together, the 3 amigos, Kay, Deb, and myself. And we try to communicate about all these things that are coming through from all these different directions. So that would definitely be one that I could, maybe. Okay. The other thing I think maybe we can do is see if, if there's anybody on the team that your son or daughter is on that might live near somewhere that might have a car. So we'll try and, I'll do whatever I can to try and help. Just give me a call tomorrow at some point. I'd appreciate that. Okay. You're welcome. No worries. Yes. There is. Let's put it this way: he would be more than safe because we have other coaches, practicing until 6. There are other people on, either myself, Miss Manigan, or Deb O'Connell will be there till 6 o'clock. A lot of times it's all 3 of us because there's games on. They could maybe go watch a game and all that stuff, but we really try to minimize that because my grandfather used to say, like, an idle mind is a devil's workshop, right? We don't want anybody going unattended or unsupervised. And I like to believe that most kids, if they miss a bus, they're just going to go hang out and watch a game and do something, relatively innocent. But we really try to get them on the appropriate bus to the point where we ask the coaches to make sure they walk the kids over to where the buses pick up at the end of practice. So I hope that answers your question. You see, the library would be open, but there would be nobody there to supervise. So we, some kids ask, hey, can I go in the weight room and work out? Like, I'd love to say go work out, but I don't want a kid in there by himself and they drop a plate on their foot or something and then they're, you know what I mean? Like, for me, it's about supervision and liability. Again, I believe that kids are good kids and most kids are going to be fine, but I don't want to put the student athlete or their family or anybody that works here in that situation where somebody could be unsupervised. So we try to do that as best we can. You're welcome. Anybody else have anything, any questions or situations you'd like to talk about? Okay, so again, tonight, guys, thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate it. I know that you all have families and you have jobs and you have kids, probably other kids that are here, but we appreciate the time, the fact that you took the time out to come here today and meet us and speak with us. The coaches are here. Feel free to just get up and mingle if you wish. If you need to get home and get dinner started or you got an appointment somewhere else, feel free to do that as well. Thank you all very much. We look forward to working with you.